I'm preaching on war against enemies of progress. War against enemies of progress. My message is brief. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, I want you to understand that the life we live is not a life of funfair. The life we live is not a life of funfair. It's a life of warfare. I want you to understand this and let it be registered in your mentality. That life does not give you what you deserve. Life has not been fair to many, including you and I. Life only gives to you what you demand for. If you don't demand for it, life will be very unfair to you. We live in a wicked world where if you are not violent in the pursuit of life, it will shock you that what is due for you is taken from you by another man. We live in a wicked world where those you think are with you are actually those that are against you. Be careful not to play with your life so that you don't end up losing what God has given to you freely. Be careful not to play with your life so that you don't die without a legacy for your children. Be careful not to play with your life so that somebody will not play with your life. Life is not funfair. Sweetie, life is warfare. And in the place of warfare, everybody is a suspect, including that your neighbor sitting beside you. I hope I'm preaching. In Isaiah 28, the Bible says, it is required of every believer that must succeed to take his battle to the gate. So that means every battle that must be won by you must be fought at the gate. That means the battle of life is settled at the gate. Have you ever asked why you will begin to fight for what belongs to you violently? No, it is yours. But the Bible said the kingdom suffered violent, and the violent taketh it. But why would you take what belongs to you by force? Have you ever asked? Something that is freely yours, you are now fighting. The word violent is a senior brother to trouble. For somebody to be troublesome is lower than somebody to be violent. A troublesome person can sometimes give you peace, but a violent person, until he sees blood, he doesn't rest. Talk to me. The required requisite for victory over life is that that battle must be taken to the gate. Am I talking to somebody here? Papa, why the gate? Because the gate is a center point for excellence. Papa, why the gate? Because the gate is an access base to destiny recovery. Papa, why the gate? Because the gate is the only last wall to the place of destiny. Papa, why the gate? Because the gate is standing in between you and your promised land. That means any battle that does not encounter the gate cannot get to its destination. Isaiah 28 verse 6. The Bible said the first requirement for every battle to the gate is strength. Is what? Shout it loud. Church, shout it again. Strength. Strength to them who must take their battle to the gate. That means for you to, in the first place, take the battle to the gate, you need strength. For you to fight the enemy at the gate, you need strength. For you to defeat the enemy at the gate, you need strength. And then for you to access the gate, you need strength. No wonder the Bible says, if you fail in the days of adversity, that means your strength is small. So men who fail during adversity are men who lack strength to fight. Adversity must come. Papa, what is adversity? Challenges. Papa, what is adversity? Rising and falling. Prophet Tony, what is adversity? Promise and fail. Tony, what is adversity? Walking like elephant, having nothing to show, stagnation and near success syndrome. These are different types of adversities. That means God knows that adversity will come. The only thing he has given you not to fail is what? Strength. So that means in case you are facing any adversity, stop looking for God, look for strength. Talk to me. In case you are looking for money to pay house rent, stop calling God. There is no bank in heaven. All the bank holding all the money you need is here on planet Earth. In case you don't know anyone, there's one called Sky Bank. That one is in the sky. There's another one called Zenith. That one is at the height of the bank. There's the other one called First. That means there's one that is in the front. Which one are you looking for? I prophesy with the loudest amen, receive your breakthrough. Stop troubling Prophet Tony because of enemies. Look for strength. Strength is the first requirement. I have told this church this thing. I am repeating it again because God said repeat it. We still have a lot of people who have failed at the gate. We still have a lot of people who have not actually taken their battle to the gate. Excuse me, if you don't end this battle, your child will continue it when you die. End it now. That God has opened your eyes for you to know the secret behind victory. Don't die living this battle for your children. They may not have the privilege you have today. Our parents ate manna grapes. Today our own teeth are set on edge with the children. But we have toothpick to remove it. They use chewing stick made from trees that were being sacrificed to idol. But today we have toothbrush. There is a better strength, better than the former strength. For in the days of his power, his people shall not only be willing, but he said he shall pour his spirit to all flesh. He said, young men shall prophesy, and old men shall dream and see vision. Why are you not prophesying? He's waiting for you to call upon him in the days of trouble. I call him the troublemaker. He is just waiting. All you need is to call him. Stop sitting down and complaining what you don't know. Strength to them who must take their battle to the gate. There's somebody here, there is a financial gate locked against you. Can I pray now? With the strength of Yeshua Amasiah, I command that gate not only to open, I break the gate. I said I break the gate. I said I break the gate. If you shout one amen, oh yeah, enter. If you holler one amen, I said enter. If that amen is a lie, I say enter the gate. I say enter. 27 of you, I want you to run into the gate. Run, run into the gate. Run into the gate. The Bible said the name of Jesus is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and they are saved. Keep running into your own gate. Run into the gate. Run into the gate. Run into your financial place. Run into your wealthy place. Run into your career. Run into your destiny. Somebody say, I am running. The Bible said the gate of hell shall not prevail. Why then with the hidden rage and the people imagine a venting against the Lord and his anointed? The Bible said, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. For even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil.
We shall walk not to the golden gate. We shall walk not to the golden gate. We shall walk
not to the golden gate. When my eyes
shall come.
Give me your hand. The Bible says bodily exercise profited a little, but spiritual exercise profited in all. For those of you that obeyed that prophetic assignment, because you ran according to the command of the commanding commander, if you holler one amen, the rest of your life you will be running into breakthrough. The rest of your generation will be running into breakthrough. Let your amen be louder than your name. The person with the biggest amen, oh yeah, carry go. The person with the loudest amen, I say carry go. The person that your amen is allowed, I say carry go. In the name of Jesus. I want you to beat your chest and say, I know who I am. Shout it again, say, I know who I am. I am a child of destiny. I am a general to my generation. I have a future that cannot be fractured. I have a prophet. I know where I belong. House of answered prayer. Sit down. The gate is the boundary between two places: failure, success, breakdown, breakthrough, lowness, highness. Osun State, Edo State, Ebonyi State, Enugu State, River State, Akwa Ibom State. In between these two states is a gate. Sometimes you can see it Sometimes you cannot see it. In case you don't know the map that divides Ebonyi and Enugu, anytime you are traveling, open your two eyes. Any place you meet two checking points not too far away from each other with more than 6 policemen is the boundary of 2 states. The policemen in front of you are in their own boundary to their state. The one this side are in their own boundary behind the state. They may see where these ones packed you. They are not interested. If you get to them, they will still pack you. These other ones can release you to go. They saw where this one released you, but then they said, no. Do what? Pack. They just want you to understand that there are territorials that governs every boundary. You can't cross into riches without confronting the demon against riches. You cannot access heaven without the prince of Persia. These are fallen angels that rule in high places. Go and ask Daniel. He will tell you what he passed through in the hands of the prince of Persia. Not even the king, not the queen. The prince, that means the son of the king. Let me say, if to say that the king hold down a prayer, wahala for them. Ordinary prince had power to hold the answers of a prophet of God for 21 days. How much more you, who is into sin today, into God tomorrow, who is playing church and playing God? This is a dedicated prophet of God, a prophet that has a voice and the mandate to liberate his people. Yet his answer and the angel that was carrying the answer was held. And you don't want to declare war against enemies of progress. Sit down until a bogi case a born nagi. There are powers that rule every territory. When we came in new here, we confronted them. Even though they are not still ready to give up, but we have taken dominion. We need not to sleep so that we keep being in charge, because they are not sleeping. The attitude of every believer should not be a sleeping, slumbering attitude, because the God we serve neither sleeps nor slumbers. Be careful, there is war everywhere. Even physically there is war. One man in France entered his trailer. That was about few days ago. For those of you that are current with international affairs, drove the trailer himself. I've been to France. By his grace, I've been to some European countries, and in most European countries, big trailers and trucks have their road. They do not pass where other smaller cars pass. And most times, they don't move by day, they move by night. And this man entered his trailer and drove to where people are and was killing people like as if he was killing ants. And when he was tired, he brought out his trigger and started shooting people who did not offend him. Young man, there is war. Do you know how many innocent people that died? It was not too long in Dallas, in America, a young man who was trading on CD. The policeman met him because information came he had gun. In places like America, you can buy a gun and lance a scene. You can see an 18-year-old boy with a gun. And when the policeman met him and they said, you have a gun, he said to them, I don't have a gun. And the policeman removed his pistol and shot him on the chest, killed him. And everybody that were selling in that vicinity in Dallas got angry. And they retaliated by killing 17 policemen. Young man, there is war. Don't sit down and die. Do you know how many innocent people that die in Dallas? Somebody was telling me recently that there was a Nigerian that died in that crisis, who went to America for greener pasture. Somebody woke up one day and said he's no longer a militant. He's forming a group called the Avengers. Before you know it, they have been bombing every oil well in the Niger Delta. Child of God, there is war. Some people are trained and deceived with their myopic reason to believe that when they put a bomb on their body and die with the bomb, they are going to heaven. They call them the Boko. Boko. Now you call them more. No only Boko me I call. Waiting you call. So now me and you follow call them. Give me your right hand. Anyone that wants your life to cut short, anyone that wants you to end in shame, if you holler one amen, I backfire it back to their head. Let what they wish you return back to their head. The bigger your amen, the bigger your miracle. The bigger your amen, the bigger your miracle. Wherever you are, jump up and shout, war! Jump up and shout, war! Jump up and shout, war, 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 war. Sit up. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers and wickedness in high places. The word wrestle is the highest form of war. In every game, ask men who understand sport. They will tell you that the wrestling combat is the highest combat. In wrestling, it is not just your back that goes to the ground. When you wrestle with somebody, you are struggling with something. The word wrestling cannot be given to you as a victor until there is a number of count that shows that the person is down. Oh. In boxing, I can win you by point, not until I knock you out. But in wrestling, there is a count that automatically disqualifies you when you are on the floor. I can throw you several times on the ground. If that count does not get to that number, the fight will continue. There is no point in wrestling, but in boxing there is point. In table tennis there is point. In running there is point. But in wrestling, until you remain there for a particular time. God did not use any other word than use wrestling, knowing that it is the highest combat in the realm of the spirit. Talk to me. Remember that the weapons of this warfare are not carnal. We are not using gun. If not, you go to Ikoyi prison. We are not using cutlass. If not, they will charge you for human slaughter. The weapons are not carnal. The Bible said they are mighty through God in pulling down stronghold. For you to pull down a stronghold, you must have an element of strength. Am I preaching? You don't have the required strength, you can't pull down strongholds. The strength I'm talking about here is not that your akbobi on your chest. I'm talking about spiritual strength.